The smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the small downtown diner, the kind of place where waitresses called you, "Hun," and the menu hadn't changed in 20 years. It was Saturday morning, and the booths were buzzing with families, couples, and tired workers grabbing a quick bite before their shifts. At a corner booth sat Ethan, a single father in his mid-30s, with his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. He'd been coming here for months, ever since the divorce, because Lily loved the pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse, and Ethan liked the routine. For him, the diner wasn't just breakfast. It was a place where things felt normal, even if life outside those walls wasn't. Lily kicked her legs under the booth and tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, can I have extra syrup?" she asked, her brown eyes wide with hope. "You already drowned those pancakes, kiddo," Ethan teased. But he smiled and poured another swirl over her plate, making her grin from ear to ear. It was an ordinary morning, or so it seemed, until the front door swung open. Two men walked in, loud, laughing too hard at something crude. They weren't regulars, Ethan could tell. Their eyes scanned the room like they were sizing people up, not looking for a meal. Something about their swagger made the hair rise on the back of Ethan's neck. He had learned to trust that instinct. It had kept him alive during his years in the army. The waitress greeted them politely, but they brushed past her and slid into a booth across from a young woman sitting alone. She looked maybe in her late 20s, wearing a wrinkled blouse like she'd come straight from work or maybe a job interview. She was eating quietly, trying not to be noticed. But the men noticed. "Hey, sweetheart," one of them said, leaning too close. "What's a pretty thing like you doing here all by yourself?" The woman froze, clutching her fork. "I'm just trying to eat," she muttered. The other man laughed and reached for her coffee cup. "Mind if we join you?" Ethan's jaw tightened. He'd seen this before, two predators circling someone vulnerable. He wanted to look away, tell himself it wasn't his business. He had Lily with him, after all. He couldn't risk a fight. But then Lily whispered, "Daddy, she looks scared. Can we help her?" Her words pierced him like a blade. He glanced at his daughter, then back at the woman. The men were crowding her now, their voices low, their smiles predatory. She was cornered, and no one else in the diner was moving. Ethan took a deep breath. He couldn't teach Lily to stand up for what was right if he sat here in silence. "Stay here, pumpkin," he told her gently, sliding out of the booth. He walked over, his calm stride belying the storm brewing inside him. "Excuse me, gentlemen," he said, his voice steady but firm. "This lady doesn't seem interested. Why don't you let her finish her meal in peace?" The taller man sneered. "And who the hell are you? Her bodyguard?" Ethan didn't flinch. "Just someone who doesn't like bullies." The woman looked up at him, relief flickering in her eyes, but she still seemed frozen with fear. The shorter man stood, puffing out his chest. "Why don't you sit back down with your kid before you get hurt?" Ethan's eyes narrowed. His voice dropped, low and sharp. "Why don't you leave before you make a mistake?" The diner went silent. All eyes were on them now. The waitress held her notepad like a shield. A man in the corner shifted uneasily, but no one stepped in. For a tense moment, it looked like fists might fly. But then the taller man smirked, muttered something under his breath, and yanked his friend toward the door. "Not worth it," he said. "Let's go." They shoved past the counter and stormed out, leaving a trail of muttered curses behind them. The whole diner exhaled. Conversation slowly resumed. The waitress shot Ethan a grateful look. He turned back to the woman. "Are you okay?" She nodded shakily. "Thank you, I didn't know what to do." Ethan offered a small, reassuring smile. "You don't have to thank me, just glad you're safe." From the booth, Lily waved. "Hi," she chirped, her innocence breaking the tension. The woman's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Hi." Ethan went back to his seat, his heart still pounding, but trying to act like it was nothing. Lily leaned close and whispered, "You're like a superhero, Daddy." He chuckled softly. More like a dad who couldn't just sit there. They finished breakfast, and by the time they left, the incident felt like it might fade into memory. Just another story of a bad morning that ended without tragedy. But Ethan was wrong. Because the next day, the woman showed up again. It was Sunday afternoon. Ethan and Lily were at the same diner, this time sharing a slice of pie after church. The bell over the door jingled, and in walked the woman from yesterday. She spotted them instantly and made her way over.
Hi, she said, her voice steadier than before. Do you mind if I sit? Ethan gestured to the seat across from him. Of course. She slid in, smoothing her blouse nervously. I don't think I introduced myself yesterday. I'm Rachel. Ethan, he replied. And this is Lily. Lily grinned. We know. You were the lady Daddy saved. Rachel laughed softly. Yes, he did. And I never got the chance to say, what you did meant more than you know. I was terrified. No one else moved, but you. Her voice cracked. She swallowed hard. You didn't hesitate. Ethan shrugged. It was the right thing to do. But Rachel shook her head. The right thing isn't always the easy thing. And you risked yourself, with your daughter sitting right there. That's rare. Ethan didn't know what to say. He wasn't used to being praised. He'd just done what any decent man should. But the way she looked at him, like he'd restored some faith in humanity, made his chest tighten. Over the next hour, they talked. About life, about raising Lily, about how Rachel had just moved to town for a new job that hadn't worked out. She confessed she'd been feeling lost, sitting in that diner alone yesterday, wondering if she'd made a mistake coming here at all. And then that happened, she said quietly. And I thought, maybe the universe was telling me not everyone is cruel. Lily piped up with a mouthful of pie. See, Daddy helps people. He helps me tie my shoes, and he helps lost puppies too. Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. One time. One puppy. But Rachel's smile lingered, her eyes soft as they studied him. And in that small town diner, something unspoken shifted. Over the weeks that followed, Rachel kept crossing paths with them. Sometimes by accident, sometimes not. She'd show up at the diner, or she'd find an excuse to drop off cookies at their door. Lily adored her almost instantly. And Ethan, though cautious, found himself drawn to her warmth. The night in the diner could have just been a scary memory. Instead, it became the start of something unexpected. And it all began with one small voice whispering, Daddy, can we help her?